Uh, I think we can, yeah, if you want to start recording, but we'll start like maybe 3 past so people can actually
Okay.
get things working. It's tricky nowadays sometimes. Cool. Did you have a lot of doc-soc work today?
Not really. It's not. I mean, I think for now has been quite manageable. There's things which I wanted to do, which gave me more work, but I enjoy it. It's been okay.
Okay. Let's see.
We have about 17 people so far.
How many?
Maybe 17 so far without us. Maybe people can write in the group chat like their department. Slightly curious where everyone's from.
Yeah, guys, if you can write down your departments, it would be great.
Engineering.
Nice.
Well, a lot of diversity, I guess.
That's
a lot of
quite
people
diverse.
engineering.
Yeah. Nice.
Medicine, wow.
Medicine. Yeah. It's actually a useful skill for medics, probably, at some point.
Yeah, I know people from biomedical engineering do like C++, I think, in the first year. It's a bit hardcore for non-computing people, but
Oh my god. C++. Worst. E. Woo! Low level guys. Cool.
okay, we can wait like 2 more minutes, maybe 2 or 3 more minutes.
Yeah, it's 5, so let's wait till 4 past, and then we'll start. Okay. How many people do we have actually? Can you check it? Like,
yeah. Now we've got wait. Oh boy. Okay. We've got 40, 42, 41 people without us.
nice. Great. Okay. 2 minutes to go.
So I guess before we start, just to kind of point this out again. So try to keep yourselves muted. Do use the chat as kind of the main way of communicating with us and asking questions, and ask them throughout this. I'll try to keep an eye on the chat, and you can raise your hand too, but I'll try to keep an eye on the chat because I can't see both the hands and the chat. Maybe just as an addition to this, I would just say, if you think this is basically, you have friends who already have the Python fundamentals, there's going to be a Python 102, I think, in the spring term. So keep an eye out, also for people who want to, learn more with Python.
All right. Thank you, Seb, for technical assistance. Let us start. So welcome to Programming 101, which is Python for beginners. It's mainly directed for people who don't have programming experience, but also for people who haven't had the pleasure to code in Python. All right. So why should you code? For people who have never coded? Well, first of all, it can save a lot of time. For example, calculating something, going through some data, finding averages and things like that. You can make cool stuff, do cool things, which starts from programming your own small game maybe, to some pretty advanced machine learning and AI stuff who can recognize cats on pictures. Also, Python it's probably one of the most popular and most seeked programming languages, so it's a good thing to have on your CV and be aware of. It's fun. I like to use it for algorithms, which is not really popular because people rather use C++, but it can help you solve some theoretical problems, which gives a strange sense of satisfaction. And yeah, you can free yourself from Excel. This is actually a true story, because when I was doing my final exam in high school, I did like computer science, and in Poland you have apparently 3 types of questions. One is for Excel, and I did this one in Python, and I still managed to get max marks, and I didn't have to use Excel ever again. Okay, who is in charge? Basically, I am in charge. I am Lucas. There will be a slide about me. But from the DocSoc side, there's DocSoc Education, and also Sebastian, who is with us here. And yeah, the course was designed primarily by myself and Lloyd, who is now working at Microsoft. He graduated already. But yeah, the slides are mainly his work. All right, so who am I? I'm Lucas, you can call me. And I'm second year computing. I have worked at Imperial in CERN at Geneva. Not a very serious work, because these were internships mainly. I'm still quite early in my career, but I really love Python. I always try to use it instead of C language and things like that. It's a pretty high level and versatile language. I think it's really useful. Okay, and yeah, I made good nachos once, and they were amazing with the good food. Okay, so what is the curriculum of the course? First of all, we'll go through. Actually, first will be input and output. Then we'll go through managing data, which is variables and data structures. On today's lecture, we'll mostly concentrate on input and output and variables. And then we'll continue to control flow, which is like directing program in different directions depending on the input, and iteration, which is repetition in programs, which is kind of vital. Then lists, some theoretical stuff called object-oriented programming, and finally some basic algorithms and yeah, data structures to a system. So the goals is actually, the main goal of this course is to understand the principles of programming, of coding, But most importantly, I would say have a bit of fun and become fluent in Python, which is a very useful language. Okay. So during the lectures, I'll do some live coding. We'll have several Q&A sessions during the over the course of the 2 hours, and there will be a break in the middle, so you can refresh and maybe ask some more demanding questions. We'll provide some homework. There is a special web page, which is actually here, Primary Computational Mathematics. I have actually developed this course for Earth Sciences department this year. So if you're into it, the course will be mostly based on this one. Yeah, and it is strongly encouraged that you practice on your own, because I guess lectures are important when it comes to getting to know new things, but becoming fluent in them is actually a matter of a lot of practice.
Lucas, sorry, someone's asking for the link, maybe after the lecture during the break.
I guess everyone has a laptop. Everyone maybe has some patience and dedication. We'll see how many people will stay till the end. And yeah, sure. The link is here, but yeah, we'll put it in the chat for the break. Currently, it's not necessary. Right. Yeah, and Python working, which we'll show you now. So probably if you look at the event on Facebook, you'll see that you should have Anaconda installed. So if you have it, then it's great. Actually, we'll have a look how Anaconda works. When you have Anaconda, just enter over here, and it will turn Anaconda on. It will. Turning on. Okay, and Anaconda is a bunch of programs which you can actually install on your machine. And today we'll be working in Jupyter Notebooks, which is this program. You might have an option to install it now. I already have it installed, but you just launch it. Yeah, and it opens a directory of different notebooks. We're currently working in Python101 workspaces. And this is our working environment. So maybe again, you get into your Anaconda environment, do a notebook, launch it, then it launches in your browser. I'm currently using Mozilla, but otherwise you can use any browser of your choice. And then I can't see this. Okay. Then it puts you here. And basically, you won't have these files here, but what you should do is when you open the environment, you should have a new button here, and you open a new notebook. It will open an empty notebook for you to write in, and you can write. So new, Python 3, boom, and it's here.
People are having a few questions.
It will be in your root
Anaconda
directory and on your machine. You can make a separate folder. Yes?
Someone says what Anaconda.
I'll have a look at the chat now.
Okay.
Probably the newest one. you can find available. I don't know my current version, but any version should have Jupyter notebooks. So we should go for that. I'll have a look at the chat now.
Okay.
Probably individual edition. Okay, and where can we get slides? Slides will be, I don't know if slides will be made available, Seb. I think the recording will be made available.
The recording could be made. The recording will be made available. The slides is up to you.
Yeah, there will be a recording. We'll let you know in the event if the slides will be made available, but it might not be the case. Okay. So last time, you just launch the Jupyter notebooks. It will put you in your browser, and then you will be in this place. You click a new Python notebook. Okay. In case this is tricky, so yeah, here is a list how you should do it. In case this is tricky for you, there is also an easier option if you don't have the Anaconda installed. You go to this link. So anyone who doesn't have Anaconda should do these things, and it should work. I'll give you a minute now, so you can get there, and then I'll basically do it myself.
Everyone's asking for the link in the chat.
All right. Actually, yeah, I can just copy it. It's actually. Yep. So yeah, it's my GitHub. You can give me a star if you like me. But anyway, yeah, let's go to GitHub. We're here, and these are some workspaces for you guys. You go launch binder, and it will take some time. It will be starting the repository. And it will take a minute to start, and after it starts, we'll be in the same space we were from Anaconda, so in a new notebook. Okay. This is actually the less efficient solution because binder gets quite overheated, but hopefully it will work. Yeah, you go to workspaces, and for session number 1, you go to this workspace, and it should open in your environment, in your browser. Yep. Cool. Great. So yeah, you go to GitHub, you launch binder. Oh, it starts from the beginning. This is actually quite bad. Okay, yeah. You click launch binder, wait for the binder to run, and we're in session 1 workspace. Okay, Are there any questions so far?
I think it's fine. Someone says Python101 doesn't show up for me. What should I do? I asked what they mean by that, but other than that, I think people fine.
Yeah, guys. Okay. If there are no questions, then I'll proceed. There are none. Okay. On the chat. No. All right. Cool. Lecture number 1, what is Python? This is actually a complicated definition from Wikipedia. But the most important part of the definition is that it's general purpose. So Python can be used in numerous different environments. For example, YouTube is developed mainly using Python. Many scientists use Python to analyze their data, do some research, especially in physics, chemistry, or biology. And yeah, it's just a great tool. You can also write the backend of web pages using Python. Okay, so it's time for our first program. So we'll all go to our workspaces and practice printing. Which is basically typing print and then the thing you would like it to return. So print statement is probably the most popular statement in Python. It shows you how a machine can communicate with you. So you just tell it what to print and it will print it. Great. Right. And there are different flavors to printing. So you can print anything, any string, which is a sequence of characters. And it will print it in a single line. But there are also more options to printing in Python, so to communicating with your machine.
Someone says, how do you enter the command? When I click enter, it goes into the next line. I think people are a bit confused about the environment.
All right, sure. Yeah, actually, that's a very good question. Right, so first of all, you type what you want to print. Yep, so print, then open brackets, the thing you would like to print in brackets, and then you end it, and it will print it. You should go for Shift Enter. Otherwise, you can go to Run here, and it will also run it. So you go Run, and it runs it. Otherwise, Shift Enter. I usually use Shift Enter. It also runs the command. Apart from that, yeah, to go to the next one, you can move with your arrows. It allows you to move between the cells. And yeah, Shift Enter to run. Any other questions regarding the environment itself?
No, someone said is there this difference between apostrophes and quotes. I said no to that, but no.
No, in Python there is no difference between apostrophes and. Okay. Another way of printing things is actually printing them in numerous lines. So the way we do it in Python is that we have special characters, which are called white space. They are very similar to your space button, but they are read by the compiler, by the Python language, so that they jump to the next line. So by using \n, we can go to the next line. It will print your output in multiple lines, which will likely will not be the case when you do something like this, because this is not a valid Python. So to going to the next line, we can use \n, which basically stands for the new line. All right. Also, for printing, there is a \t, which stands for tab. Oh, sorry. Oh, that's actually strange. All right, sorry. Like this. Okay. Also, very important. Shift when you not shift. Sorry, enter button. When you do the enter, it actually jumps to the next line, which is not safe for Python because Python goes character by character. So it sort of reads that this line ends here and the command is not finished, the bracket is not closed. So remember to put things in one line. Unless there is also another method of printing. Yeah, that's a lot of printing. But you can do triple, apostrophes, or how are the other ones called, Stefan? Seb?
Quotes, just quotes.
Here you can do multiple lines. And this will be fine because triple quotes, triple apostrophes are read by Python is ready to accept multiple lines. Okay. So apart from strings, which are put in apostrophes, there are also numbers in Python. Numbers like 10, for example. And you can print those without the apostrophes. They are fine for Python. You can also print non-integer. Well, sorry. You can also print non-integer numbers like 10.45. It will also work. Yep. And now maybe something more complicated, which is formatting and printing. Great. So there are different ways of formatting things in Python. And we can kind of assign special spaces for for the elements we want to print. For example, we do a percentage sign, and then we do S. Then we do the percentage sign again. And this replaces the percentage sign S with the text itself. It might seem a bit redundant, but we can write something here, and it will insert the string itself. Yeah, we can also do it with numbers. Okay. And this will replace the numbers. So for text, we use percentage sign S, and for numbers, we use percentage sign G. Also, if you want to print numbers with some greater certainty, then you can do .5f, for example, and it will print the numbers up to 5 significant digits.
Someone asks first of all, could you zoom in a little bit? And someone else says, what does percentage G means?
Sure. So is it okay now with the zooming?
Should be fine.
Yeah. Okay. I'll assume it's fine. Okay. And G, it doesn't really have a explicit meaning, I think. It's just a replacement for numbers. And percentage sign S is a replacement for strings which are text variables in Python, which are basically textual replacements. So for numbers, you use G, and for text, you use S. Also for floating points, so with numbers which are a bit longer after the decimal point, you can specify how would you like to print them. Okay. So maybe, yeah, let's come back to the slides. Okay. So let's spend maybe 5 minutes on playing a bit with the printing, so you can guys get used to it a bit, and we'll do some exercises based on printing. Okay, coming back to the workspace. So first thing I would like you guys to do. First thing I would like you guys to do. So let's do exercises. Is to print this thing should appear on the next line using the print command. This is the first exercise. When you'll be done with this one, at some point, we'll go and print. We'll print this thing. So remember to use those white space characters here. I don't know if they'll show up. Yeah. So something in this format. So after 1, it should go to the next line. And also before 1, there should be a tab. Okay, let's give it 2 minutes maybe.
Someone says, could you scroll up for a second to the previous line? And someone else agrees.
Sure. Line do you mean?
I think that. Yeah, they say thank you. Someone also says, hello, I joined a bit late. Where can I get the Jupyter file? I think it's just create a new file, just a new Jupyter file. In whatever environment you've got.
Yeah, just create a new file. Yep. I'll zoom out a bit so people can see the last part as well as the exercises.
Someone put a question, some code in the chat. Also to the person asking, how do you make headings? You just add a new line and select Markdown instead of code in the top bar.
Yes, exactly. You go here and you select Markdown, and also you can select code. Markdown is for like simple text, and you can make some extra notes. We'll also add something about comments, but for the sake of brevity, we can actually do it here. So you can do hashtag, and this line won't be executed. It will be for you, or like some metadata you'd like to express, printing. For example, something like this.
There's a question about floating point formatting in the chat.
Okay, I'll get there then. Yes, sorry. Great question. So indeed, you can change this number to any number you want. It can be 7, and it will print 7 significant digits. It can be 1, it will print 1. It will also round it. You can also make it G, I think, but it will just choose the number of significant digits you'd like to have. So it's X, and X can be any number, any natural number. Great. Any other questions? Okay, guys, so if you're maybe done with the 2 exercises here, there's also a third one. Third one is a bit more tricky, and I don't expect you to know it straight away, but you might have some ideas. So my hints would be that when we're using white space, these are some special characters which Python doesn't print, or imprints them in different way, like a new line. But also when you want to print text in Python, there is this issue, because how can you cite something in Python? Because if you do this, then it ceases as the end of the he exclaimed, and then there is a break, and then there is another text. So maybe some of you have an idea how should you tackle this issue by using this special backslash. You can put the answer on the chat. If you have any ideas.
Someone said backslash codes. Yeah, escape characters. People seem to know about it.
Great. Yeah. Backslash. Bang. Exactly. Yeah, and for the other ones, you also use backslash. But what would you do for backslash itself? So let's say you want to print a backslash. You can put answer on the chat if you want to.
Oh yeah, 2 people said 2 backslashes.
Oh my God, people are so good. Okay, great. Great. So that's it for printing. All right. Let's come back to slides. And yeah, are there any questions regarding the printing, because we're not be coming back to it anytime soon? I'll have a look.
Yeah, someone says what are the 2? What's up with the 2 backslashes?
So if you want to print a backslash, yeah, I'll show it again. So if you would like to print the backslash itself, because we're using backslash to, for example, to print the quotes, right? But if you want to print the backslash itself, you have to do backslash, and it will print 1 backslash, because it's kind of telling the Python that it's a special character you don't know. And yeah, it's the backslash.
So someone says, sorry, 2 people. Sorry, do you mind demonstrating the second example, please?
Second one, this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. So actually, if one more thing about the IDE, if you want to insert something in between the cells, you go here, and it will insert it in between the 2. So after the one you selected. And you can cut it out if you don't like it. And yeah, for second one, we'll go it'll look something like this. So first we go with a tab, then we go with 1. Actually, this space is not necessary. The spaces here are not necessary. They are just for the sake of readability. You can do it without them.
There's 2 more questions in the chat. I'll have to go to the toilet for like 1 minute, so I'll be back in a second.
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, go, Seb. Yeah. Okay. All right. Could you write out the quote code again? Sure. I got the single quote, but not the double quote. I don't quite understand the question. Amadine, Romeo. But yeah, the quote one, we'll go for it. So we'll go he exclaimed. I'll copy this one. And now if you analyze the text, it's always in the quotes, because Python needs to know that this is a text. But then how would you print quotes? Well, the answer is that you tell Python that, look, there will be a special character, the quotes. And then you put another quotes, because quotes usually are closed. And then in between the quotes, you put the text you'd like to have in the quotes. So backslash quotes works basically as a single character double quotes. And single ones work the same way. It's actually a bit annoying because it kind of prints 2 at a time, so you'd have to delete the second one. But yeah. Well, So we'll just tell Python that, well, that's a special character which you usually read differently, and you should actually read it literally as it is and print it out. Great. There are any more? Okay. Chloe is here. Hello, Chloe.
Yeah.
That's cheating. Regards to Chloe. Okay. Great. Let's continue the presentation. So there are no more questions. And now we'll go to variables. I guess some of you guys know the notion of a variable, but a variable is basically something we assign to. So, for example, x is a variable, and we assign 5 to it. And we can also play with those variables later on by printing them, for example. And there are different types of variables. But yeah, let's have a simple tutorial about the basic variables. All right. Great. So let's say we have this variable x from the slide, and we assign 5 to it. And it's assigned, and not much happens. Python won't tell us much about this assignment. We just know that, well, we don't know, but we can suspect that if we print x, this time we don't use the quotes, then it will print out 5. Great. What if we assign 6 to it? Well, it prints 6. What if we assign some text to it? For example, five or 6. It will print 5 or 6. So basically, it will, well, the state of the variable changes as we do assignments, and the printed thing will be actually the last assignment we did of the variable. Okay. You can also use different names for variables. So we can use y equals 4, or g equals 10, or happy equals happy. And you can print all of those variables. You can actually use a comma to print multiple variables. Yep. So this is about the variable assignment. You just use the equals sign, and it's not the mathematical equals. It doesn't check whether two things are equal in their own right. It just tells the computer to interpret x as 5 or 6, or x as 6, or y as 4. It doesn't really do any checks. Actually, this is also a dangerous thing in Python, because if we want to say we don't have a mean to check whether something is a text or a number, and these are interpreted differently. Because let's say, for example, go a equals 6 and b equals, then if we want to print the sum of them, we'll do arithmetic in a minute. Then the Python will shout at us. It will say us that there is a type error. And types is actually a bit important thing in Python, not exclusively important, but It's a thing we should be aware of. So let's come back to see the types in Python. Okay, so every variable in Python has a type. There are several types. We won't touch all of them today, but most of them. So there are numbers. So first of all, there are integers. We already used some integers. For example, when we assign 5 to x, then it was an integer assignment. And also floats, which are numbers that are non-integer. So for example, 1.5 that have decimal point. There are also strings. Strings are textual variables. So when I say string, I mean some text. There are Boolean variables, which are a bit simple. They only can have 2 values, true or false. Boolean, it actually comes from a surname of one researcher. But yeah, Boolean is it's kind of the name of true or false. And there are also more complicated data structures like lists, for example, which it's pretty self-explanatory. So lists are groups of objects. But yeah, let's have a look at the types themselves. So to check a type of particular thing, we just use the type function, and it will tell us the.
If someone's asking, are strings array of characters, and in Python this is a bit complicated.
All right. Okay. Let me try to answer this question. I'll just have to have a look at it. So in Python, they are there isn't a notion of a character, really. So a single string with one character, you would say, is a string of length 1, and there is no separation between characters and strings themselves. Actually, I wouldn't even think about them as arrays of strings. I would think about them as something that groups strings, because you can expand them. They don't have like set length. That's for the people who know a bit more about other programming languages. So they can expand in length, they can decrease in length, they do not have a set size, so they are not compromised of characters. So there is no character type in Python. But there are also other wonderful types in Python, like floats. Hey. A 1.5. This is a float. And the last one, the famous string. Great. We can also convert types to each other. So if I would like, let's say, convert this 3.4 to an integer, I would do int 3.4, and it will truncate. So it will remove what's behind the decimal point. So this could be 3.6, and it will still return 3. There is no rounding here. Also, if I want to turn a 5 into a float, I can. It's 5.0. If I want to turn an integer, let's say 8, T9, then I'll just go str89, and it turns into a string. So we can change those types. And this actually puts us back in the same position here when we had the type error. One way to fix it, which is a bit hacky, it's to just convert this 4 into an integer, if it was our aim. It will just convert it into a number that you read here. Of course, it has to consist only of numbers, but yeah. So integers can be negative as well as floats. So this can be -2. All right. Any more questions about those?
Yeah, someone has a question. Says, I don't really understand what str, float, int, and type is.
Okay. Let's reiterate maybe. So every variable in Python, so every x, based on what is assigned to it. You remember the assignment operator, where we assign something to a symbol like x is equal to 5. Then we can ask what is the type of this variable. So type is kind of a subset, a family of some abstract objects that something belongs to. So you can think of integers as regular integers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, -1. The same as in mathematics. Floats are basically real numbers, and strings are textual variables. So they represent some text, something readable for humans usually. Does it make it any easier? Cassandra, great. Okay, amazing. So now let's do some mathematics, which the majority of bio people here will probably love and adore. Yeah, let's see what operations we can do in Python when it comes to basic mathematics. I'll just change my notes here. Oh yeah, and if you want to make like a subsection in Markdown, you do a hashtag, and you do say maths. Great. Ouch. Okay. All right. So first we can add things. So we'll start with two variables, a and b, and we'll print their sum, a plus b. This is addition. We can also do a minus b, which is subtraction, a times b, which is multiplication, the division. We can do even integer division, which is more popular in computer science, but it basically cuts the decimal point. It will always yield an integer. So for example, we had a equal to 5, b equal to 2. So there are two whole 2's in a 5 number. Okay. Apart from that, we can use to a power. So exponentiation is actually not this. It's double multiplication in Python. So it's 5 to the second, 25. And we can also reassign variables. So we now know that a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 2. We can also do a equals to b. And now a will be assigned the value of b. Okay. A was 5 and now it's 2. Okie dokie. So maybe let's imagine we want to do some homework or something like this in physics, for example, and we want to know the velocity of some object after a while. So let's assign those variables. Let's say an object was falling for 0.3 seconds. We can use the hashtag to do the comments. And we want to find how fast the object moved, how its position changed. Of course, we have to do the derivation of formulas and something like this, but it's not really relevant here. We're just using some operators. So for example, this term is multiplying two variables. Then we subtract the two groups. And then we multiply a half times g times t, and t is squared. If we would like to square the whole thing, we'll have to put it in brackets. This is not the thing in our case. Great, and we can print y equal to some variable. Okay. Any questions about arithmetic operations? We'll do some exercises about them in probably 10 minutes.
There's a question on the chat. I mean, to answer that very quickly, Charlene, I think, you're trying to divide 6 by the string 4, not the number 4.
Okay.
And someone asks, can you use the normal power sign instead of 2 stars?
No, you have to use the 2 stars. This is actually a different operation in Python. What was the second one? Let's have a look. Rewind it. Who is this?
Yeah, someone's Jupyter is not executing. I tried to tell them to restart the kernel.
Okay. Are you on Binder, Jason? It might be that Binder is getting really slow. If you have Anaconda, then it would be great. If not, then you can try to relaunch the Binder itself. So you can come back to GitHub, right, and just launch Binder again. But it won't save your session. If you want to save your code, then you have to download it somehow. So there is a download button, and you can download the notebook.
Says I have Anaconda.
He has Anaconda? Okay. Okay. So, okay. Yes, Binder and Anaconda are different. They are different things. So Binder allows you to run Python in your browser without really installing Python. And Anaconda is a full-fledged Python editor, which is very, very useful. I think actually this operator does something, Sebastian. Isn't it like XOR or something?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was stupid. So that's bitwise XOR. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know what XOR is, you can explain it.
It's a low-level operation, but it's a bitwise XOR if anyone is interested. But it's not really a natural mathematical operation science people use. So you go to Anaconda. I'll show you again. You go to Anaconda, you go to Jupyter, you launch it and install it usually before launching it. And then it will run in your browser, and it should be way faster than Binder because my Binder is getting really, really slow as well. Okay. Okay, great. Let's do strings, then we'll have a short break, and then we'll. Okay. So all right, now we'll play with some textual variables, which are strings. Okay. Great. So we can also assign text variables. So let's say we have T1, which is happy, and T2, which is Tuesday. This is a happy Tuesday. And now we have both of those variables. And yeah, there is actually a notion of adding strings in Python. So we can add strings. In some languages it would be tricky, but here it's just concatenation. So but as you can see, it really concatenated them. There is no space in between, but we can insert one. And it will be a truly happy Tuesday then. No, ouch. Right, yeah. Yep. Also, if you change this and then run it here, it still saves the old version of the variable. So you have to rerun the assignments again. So let's put a big letter, so it is a proper happy Tuesday. And now it's a really happy Tuesday. Okay, so this is string concatenation. It uses the same plus sign as addition, but it just joins the two strings together. So they become one. We can also define a new variable, T3, which is just T1 plus T2. Now we can do, say, T1 plus T3, which is a mistake, but not now, which is a happy Tuesday. Super happy Tuesday. All right. And now we can take subsections of a string. So each string is indexed. So it's indexed from 0. So the first character, you would say, of a string is H, as in T1 happy. All right. If I want to print the second string, which is the second letter, which is actually indexed with a number 1, I just do happy. Yeah, I do A because it's the second one, but it's indexed from 0. But if I want to do the first two, I go from 0, cons, right? We do a colon, then I do 2. So it will print all strings from 0 up to 2, but 2 is not included. Okay. We can also tackle strings from the back. So the last character of a string is indexed with -1. The second last is -2. So we go with negative numbers. We can go from, let's say, -1 to -3, and it will print, but except the -1. If we want to print all the letters from some negative index, we just don't put the number here, and it's A, right? Similar applies to here when we're printing the front of a string. So we want to print up to 2. These are the same commands. I mean, they have the same effect. And we just didn't include the first number, so Python implicitly thinks that it's from the beginning. It doesn't always have to be from the beginning, though. You can print some middle characters of a string. And it will print the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th character here. So it's a subsection of a string. This counts operator actually can have a third argument. So let's say I want to just print every other letter of a string. And I go const, and this assumes that I go from the beginning to the end. And then I do 2. It basically says print the string from the beginning till the end and jump 2 each time. So again, from the beginning till the end and jump 2 each time. Or I can jump 3. ETSY. Or I can print from the back, which is oftentimes very useful. From the beginning till the end, backwards. This looks like Russian. Okay. Any questions to the cons operator? Yes, no? Okay. All right, great. Cool. So these are the subsets of subsections of a string. And now let's define some long string. Happy days are. Yep. And now we'll do some checks on this string. So first, we can check whether a string is inside another string. It will actually print true or false, which is this Boolean variable. So let's say day in T. In is a keyword in Python. It checks whether something is inside another thing. It says true. And no, it's not inside the sentence we defined, so it prints false. We can also do not in, which is true. So these both print true because no is not in T, but sun from sunny is in T. Right. Last thing we can do with strings is split them. So we can split our string based on the space character. Right. Now it separates words by space. If we would have commas, then it would be more tricky, but now we have only spaces, so it separates the string into a list. We won't be going over list in much depth today, but the list is a set of objects, right? So it's a set of words. Happy days are always sunny. All right. Any questions to the string operators? Okay.
I think there is one.
Nicholas, yep. Okay. How does the print t work? So Nicholas, do you mean how does it work internally in a compiler, or how does it work like more abstractly? Okay. I'll try to give an answer. Hopefully you'll be happy. So it basically has to do with iteration. So Python is going through every character in the string, and it sees that we specified -1, so we'll be going backwards. This is kind of defined in a cyclical way. So
He said something in the chat. A justification.
okay. I think you can. I'm not sure actually.
Oh yeah, you
Check.
can. Yeah, he said what he meant by that, by the way. By the compiler thing.
I think you can't have multiples. Oh, maybe
you have to put it in
in
the same string.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. No, you can't. No. I think, but what you can do is you can split it twice. Right? I think you can. Okay, so there is a way to do it. We'll go through it in some lectures past, but there is a way to do it. What did you mean? Yeah, it's kind of cyclical. Yeah. But it kind of knows where it ends when it hits the end or the beginning. String is a very complex data structure in Python, but yeah, it knows more or less what to do. Okay. Okay. Let's go through Booleans, and then we'll have a short break, and then we'll do exercises with variables. Okay. So Boolean operators are true or false, and basically they say whether something is true or false. That's the name I suggest. So here are a couple of examples. So for example, A is greater than B. It will return true if A is greater than B. A is smaller than B. Well, also, A is greater or equal than B. And also there is an equals equals operator. So equals equals stands for if they are equal. It's actually asking whether two things are equal. And exclamation mark equals gives us whether two objects are not equal. Okay. Let's have a look at those. So you can have a true or false. And now we can, for example, print. Well, so A equal to 2 and B equal to 1. So first the arithmetic ones. So A is greater than B, which will take ages. It did, but it's here. So A is truly greater than B. All right. Let's say if we want to compare whether A is equal to B, they are not equal, so it's false. Also, there are logical connectives for those. So we can do true and true. So there are some keywords in Python, which basically mean what they mean. We check whether true and true is true. It is true. Let's say we want to do print false or false. It's false. These are basic logical connectives. And also there is a no, not word. Not true is false. Yep. Okay. So that's it for Boolean variables. It's not much, but let's have some exercises for these ones as well as a break. So now, guys, you can have a short break for like 5 minutes, and I'll write down the exercises I would like you to do in the next 10 minutes or so. If you also have any questions, I'm happy to answer simultaneously. Okay.
Someone says, do you mind going over what you did between lines 96 and 103?
Sure. So you mean checking the membership? True and true.
For the Boolean thing, if you want, I can fetch a first table really quickly and put it on the chat.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I'll just reiterate. So AND connective is a simple logical connective. I don't know if you guys did logic yet, but AND evaluates to true if both conditions are true. Otherwise, it will be false. So if it would be true and false, then it would evaluate to false. OR is another connective, and it evaluates to true in all cases except when there are two falses. And not is a pretty self-explanatory. Not true is false and not false is true. Oh yeah, and I was to give you the link to the course actually. So if you go to my GitHub, you can find the web page here. It's for revision resources. And if you go in there, you have a whole intro to Python content. So for example, for printing, what we did is mostly here. If you want to have well-formatted notes or do some revision, there are also questions with answers. I prove very useful. It's all checked, so it's quality work. You have a nice tiger here. So I'll put the link on the chat, but you can also find it on GitHub. Okay, so the link is there. Okay. You can start doing the exercises.
There's some questions on the chat about the exercises.
Yeah, I'll answer them in a minute. Okay. So these are the first three exercises. Okay. And let's have a look at the questions. All right. Checking the equality. I just want you to use any numbers, any integers, pretty much positive ones, and just check. Let's say A is equal to 50 and B is equal to 7. And using the Boolean equals, equals, as well as the operators I mentioned, you should do this. Yes, I meant for c to the fourth power, but this is tricky because probably not the way we do exponentiation in Python. Yeah, it's the Excel exponentiation. I want you to use the Python one. Well, we'll give another 5 minutes. Okay, Faka, what's your question? Praka. Okay. And not no as in what two things are we comparing? Okay, take even characters means take characters on even positions. Oh, okay. You're just checking that it's equal to A. And F. Sorry. So how you make space, what you concatenate again. This Jason, could you reiterate? Rusna, the rem is the remainder. And I just did a hint that the remainder operator is actually the percentage sign. It's the regular remainder from division. So for example, 5 leaves a remainder of 1 when divided by 2. All right, concatenate. Concatenate means connecting two strings into one. Yeah, Jason. Bananas, apples. Well, there are several ways to do it. You can concatenate it with a single space. So you can concatenate 3 strings, or you can, yeah, that's probably the best way. But I'm asking just to concatenating them, not to making 2 separate words. Yeah, so let's start with the first exercise. So A is equal to 1, B is equal to 4, C is equal to 3, D is equal to 17. And now we want to evaluate A plus B minus C, and C should be to the fourth, so this is this operator, double multiplies, and this gives us to the fourth, and now we just divide by D. And it will take some time, but it will do it. Okay, while we're waiting for this one, we'll do the second one. So what I meant here is that we first do the integer division. So the thing I mentioned in the meantime. So it's A divided by B, right? Plus A remainder B equals A. There should be a space here, yeah. It actually takes a while to evaluate, so I'll do it in a different place. So this is the exercise number 1 answer. Okay, somebody's, yep. Okay. Now we want to do a equals to 50, b equals to 7. We want to run this one, which will also take a while. That's why we'll go to a different notebook for a minute. Sorry, not this one. Never mind. Here is the answer for question 2. Okay, and for question number 3, we'll just do a equals bananas and b equals apples. Apples. Oh, no. Apples. And to connect them, we just concatenate them. So a plus b, we can assign it to c, for example. Take a while, so we'll just go to a different notebook. That. So c equals bananas apples, right?
Lucas, are we going to start loops today? Someone's asking.
No. Well, we won't be doing loops today. Okay, to print the even characters, you do 2, and it will print every other character. And the last question was to take the last 3 digits. So it will be basically, oh, sorry, not here. It will be basically doing sorry for that. Take the last strings of the last 3 characters of the concatenated string. You do -3, and you start from it. And this is less apples. All right. So the exercises.
There's a question. There's a question in the chat.
Yeah. Well, what is the question? Let's have a look. So Daniel, no, we're not. Variables is enough for today. Daniel James, the thing you wrote on the chat means nothing, but if you would do a percentage sign b, it would be the remainder of division a divided by b. And equals compares two values, whether they're equal. Sure. This is the remainder code. So to put it in brackets, maybe more readable. Like this. Okay. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, it was. Did I do it differently? Sorry, my bad. Yes, times b. Times b. True. Times b. Indeed. That's my bad. Because we're dividing, because we're doing integer division, and then we're timesing times b. Yes, in the question there was times b. So double slash is integer division as a subset divide and floor. We'll continue with user input maybe next time because today it's late and we're all pretty tired. All right, so a wrap up for today. Please keep an eye on the event page. So especially the Facebook events, we'll be having another lecture next week. The content of the lecture can be found there. If you have any feedback, probably leave it on Facebook. I don't know whether we'll be sending a Google form. Are we, Seb?
No, not for now. I don't think so.
All right. If you have any questions regarding Python or studying computing or I don't know, making nachos, then do not hesitate to reach out via email or Facebook. I guess you can find me there.
Someone's asking for the link in the chat again.
I did put in the link in the chat.
Okay, I'll try to copy
Do it
again.
again. I can do it. Another one making nachos. We can do it as the last one. Yeah, I'll try it. Yeah, I'll get it in a minute.
I got it. That's fine.
You got it. Great. Yeah, the link is there. Cool. Yeah, and we'll probably share the recordings on YouTube tomorrow or today. We'll see how it goes.
Should be I think it should be available on the channel right after this, but I think we'll be posting them as unlisted videos on YouTube too. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, guys. That's it for today. Oh, you can see the contents of the next lecture here. And yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for the session, and have a nice evening, and see you all guys in a week time.
Thank you, Lucas. That was pretty useful.
There will be a bit more content next week, so keep an eye on that. A bit more complex. You guys get Anaconda. Who doesn't have Anaconda? And yeah, see you all. Thanks, Sebastian, for help.
Thank you, everyone, and please, don't forget to check Facebook for the next event and hit going so you get all the updates.
Yep. See you next week. Recommend it to your friends so we can have many people. And yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.